fundamental human rights of citizens have already been guaranteed by the Constitution. This means that everyone has the right to live and exist in their country without any form of maltreatment or oppression. But the big question is, what happens when this right as guaranteed by the Constitution of the land is violated? Who is to blame? Who does it affect? All this and more we are going to be providing answers to on this edition of Indepth on ABS Television. My name is Priska Wanko. Hello and welcome back to the program Indepth on ABS Television. And today we've decided to beam our searchlight on human rights abuse. We have a constitution in Nigeria, yet a lot of crimes seems to thrive without any form of respect for the Constitution. And this time around, we've decided to talk about the reason why people abuse others' right to life, to live a peaceful life and coexist in their society. And today, with me on this conversation, I have Barrister Ifechukwu Dan Jacobs. He also doubles as a human rights activist and a public affairs analyst. Hello and welcome to the program.
Thank you, the presenter.
Yes, I have Comrade Osita Obi. He is the convener, Recover Nigeria Project, Abuja. Hello and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And right now, we want to know, when people talk about violation of human rights, what actually does it mean to violate human rights? Comrade Osita.
First and foremost, I think we have to know what human rights is all about. Those basic rights and freedoms without which the citizen cannot be him or herself. So these basic rights and freedoms include, freedom for association, freedom to express opinion, freedom to engage in business. And if these rights and freedom are not guaranteed or violated, you see, the person or the citizen is just like a robot.
Okay. All right. So now, what actually causes these human rights violations? What actually the reasons why people feel it's okay to, violate other people's fundamental human rights?
I think the violation is principally from government. Because, a state has to exist before you talk about this freedom. So the citizens comes together to form a union known as states. And this union, its membership is compulsory. It's not optional. So the state has to exist. And this state protect the human rights and the freedom of these citizens. So basically, it is the state that, encourages the infringement and the, violation of these human rights. So ultimately, it is the state that protects the fundamental rights of the citizens and freedom. It is the state. If the state doesn't do it, the individuals cannot, except when they go to court to seek the enforcement. So basically, it is the government, the authority, that protect this right and also violence. As we go into the program, we will now explain how the citizens, how the citizens are, the rights are violated, and how government are looking the other way, as it's led to ordinary affairs of life and the citizens.
Okay, all right. So Barrister Ifechukwu Dan Jacobs, the Constitution exists to guide our conduct and protect our interests as citizens living in a democratic nation. Now, why is it that despite the fact that the Constitution guarantees these fundamental rights that people have to coexist, to live, rights to free speech, yet issues like violations of people's rights have continued to thrive in the country? Why is it so?
Well, why, like in Nigeria today, Chapter 4 of the Constitution provided for all these fundamental rights of the citizens. And they have areas where your own right starts and where your own right ends, another one's or person's right begins. The violation largely comes from, at times, individuals government, not only government violates fundamental rights of citizens, another citizen can violate another person's right. Do you get the point? But the problem why it thrives is that because the citizens don't have enough knowledge to fight for their rights. Though there is provisions in the law, we have courts, but most of them, when they consider the cost of going to court, they decide to die in silence. But when you feel that your fundamental right is being infringed upon, you go to court to seek redress. But most of the time, people don't do that. Government have provided, the Constitution have provided for this right, giving you options how to protect it. But another way government can come in, government agencies are there to make sure that those rights are not violated. But where they fail to do their own, to do their right, what they're supposed to do in protection of those rights, government agencies, you can compare them by law too. So the citizens have more to do to make sure their rights are not violated. We should not be docile.
Okay, Comrade Osita, he said the citizens have a lot to do when it comes to the protection of their rights. But you know there are different case scenarios, like something like extrajudicial killings, jungle justice, which of course goes against the rights that citizens have to life. Now I'm saying these citizens that are like you and I, that people that are supposed to be helping their fellow citizens. Now why do you think the citizens sometimes turn around to be the people that are behind the violation of some of the rights of their fellow citizens? Why?
I think I will come this way. Citizens violate this right, the right of their fellow citizens. Because one is either they are ignorant. That is why I always emphasize that the government comes in. We are talking about the protection, why citizens violate all this. You see, citizens goes all out to do it because when they want to seek redress, the will of justice grounds slowly, moves slowly. So somehow people want to do it fast, but it will not be encouraged. If the institutions of government and departments of government are functioning well, all these things will not happen. And that is why I say that as we go on, I want to reduce this to the way the average market man in Oikoka will understand. The average Okada, so the Keke Napep driver will understand this and bus shuttle. You see, every day, rights of people are violated.
Sure,
Take for instance, somebody buy a Keke Napep today. What he requires is just to pay the taxes that the government required of him, and they put the Keke Napep or the shuttle on the road. But what do you see today? Somebody buy Keke Napep. Somebody somewhere tells him that you pay 41,000 to fly on the road government build. So these are the things. So this thing creates frustration among citizens. So that is why it breeds conflicts. And some of them don't have the resources to go to court to seek redress. They resort to doing it themselves. Taking the laws into their own hands. So from my own point of view and observation, government must play a role in this. The protection of human rights, government must play a role. The advancement of it, government must play a role. Because I surrender my right as a citizen. Of course, where my own right stops, someone's own begins. So the government, so there's infringement is everywhere. And because people have no trust in the judicial process, the way grounds slowly and they resort to self-defense, taking the law into their hands. So the government must play a major role. That is why I cited the issue of Keke Napep driver, shuttle driver. Every day their rights are violated. They are coerced to come into an organization. Ordinarily, they will not want to be. Like I stated before, the state is only union that its membership is compulsory. But today, people are coerced. And the government agencies that ought to do this are not doing it. And what they do, they resort to self-help that to breed in all the vices we are seeing in the society, cultism, all this. So the government must wake up to protect people's right, to advance it as well.
All right, Comrade Osita, I agree with you to an extent. Yes, they resort to self-help because they believe that the state cannot fight for them. But now, is there enough reason, knowing that the law still doesn't make provision for people taking the law into their own hands? So, because they're being marginalized, is there enough reason for you to resort to do things that will not only harm the state that is not protecting you, but also your fellow citizens? Is he enough reason?
No, it is not enough. Personally, I'm not an advocate of that. I'm not advocating for people to go into self-defense because the will of justice moves slowly. No, it must be it's condemnable. We don't do that. But what I am trying to say is that government must, rise up to its responsibilities. If my fundamental human right or if people's freedom are to be maintained, it is government. Yes, individuals can go to court to enforce it. But it's the wage they encountered on the road. That's what frustrates them. So we are advised, personally I am advising them to have patience, but government should do more. That is what I'm saying. Government should do more. Seeing the state that has been set now, people want to take law into their hand to do that. It's condemnable, but government should step in and solve that. If fundamental human rights of people are protected, if their freedom are protected and advanced, and if a citizen sees it that government is actually doing that, there will be no need for this. So everything rests on government.
So Barrister, while Comrade Osita was speaking, he said something about lack of faith and belief in the judicial system. Why do you think people have lost faith in the judicial system to fight for them, and they've decided to resort to self-help to be able to help themselves? Why this lack of faith in the judicial system?
Actually, not all the citizens have lost faith in the judicial system.
Then what about
some
people
of them that have lost faith in the judicial system might have their personal reasons. Some of them, issue of funds. Because to go to court, you must have enough money to pursue your case. Those indigent ones among them, once the money is not there, and they feel that they have been injured, their right has been infringed upon, if there any infraction they felt about their right, and they don't have means to go to court, they will, maybe some of them will resort to self-help. To get the point. Not that actual judicial system, I'm not saying that the judicial system in Nigeria is perfect. No system is perfect. The Nigerian judiciary have been trying their best. Although the government, on their own part, have not provided an enabling environment for judiciary to do more. Like when you go to court, a judge might have up to 1,005 before him. A single judge. How do you expect such a judge to dispense justice so fast, causing the enormous, the quantity of the file before him? And the way, you go to magistrate court, you will see more than 1,500 files before a magistrate. What do you expect such a magistrate? Will he or she do magic? We have to create a enabling environment, create more courts, make it easier for the judges, create more enabling environment, give them more needed facilities for them to dispense justice as quick as possible. So the issue now is much you have provided for them. They are trying their best. They are doing what much they can to bring justice to the people.
Okay, Comrade Osita, you're smiling. It's like you have a lot of things to say concerning what he has said, but hold that thought. We're going to go for a break. When we come back, the floor will be open for you to air your own views. This is still Indepth on ABS Television. Don't go away.
We have rights and privileges of an individual. And then an individual's rights abuse. That's what I'm trying to explain. For instance, let me give you a very appropriate scenario. Anambra is the first to pass the Disability Rights Bill. And that is the rights of persons living with disabilities in the state, in Nigeria. And then when their rights are being infringed upon, that is the abuse of such rights. And then anybody who seems to abuse the right of another has attracted the wrath of law. because everybody, an individual, everybody has the right to live. That's the right. When one right ends, that's another when another person's right begins.
Human right is a fundamental part of human nature, enshrined in the both federal law and institutional laws, and it's just a way of enhancing peaceful coexistence. And that's the simple summary of it.
Every human being have rights, and these rights are lawful attributes, lawful behaviors, lawful privileges and opportunities that the individual is entitled to as a human being. When these rights are denied, we say that they are abused. The person is having some abuse on the person's human rights. For example, as a human being, we have the right for existence. We have the right for political inclination. We have the right for social welfare. All these are rights that are ours as human beings.
You're welcome back. This is still Indepth, and our spotlight is still on human rights abuse, implication, causes, consequences, and what it holds to our development as a democratic nation. Comrade Osita, you know, earlier before the break, Barrister Ifechukwu was saying something about phones preventing people from seeking redress in court. But I understand that there's something you call pro bono cases, right? In legal term?
On the issue of pro bono cases, a lawyer cannot go out in the street to seek for pro bono cases. When you consult a lawyer,
that's what I'm saying. So
most of the time, the citizens themselves don't even know those opening that they can approach a lawyer. You can't just walk into a lawyer's office and say, handle my case free. You have to give him reasons and persuade him why he should come in your case. Like myself, I have handled many pro bono cases. There was a time I visited a prison and I discovered some cases that those suspects they're supposed not to be there. I filed bail application on pro bono cases and they were freed. So you must approach, and some of them comes to me and pleaded that I don't have the money. But what can I do? Then when you after interviewing the person, I find out that actually is an indigent citizen. Once they can provide money to file to pay for filing fees and all these things, you go ahead and do the rest for the person and make sure justice is done.
Okay, all right.
But most of the citizens don't approach lawyers, and lawyers cannot go into the street and ask people come with cases. I will do pro bono. You know, they're into business too.
Oh, okay. So, Comrade Osita, do you agree with what he's saying right now?
Somehow I agree with him.
And somehow you don't?
And I still insist that government has to play a greater role on the issue of protection of human rights and its violation on citizens. Government is central in all this thing we do. And I said that I want to get this into the level, the average man in the park will understand what we are saying.
Feel free.
So the lawyers are there to do business. The citizens are there also to do business. Now, first the citizens has to know. If you don't educate them like this program we are doing, they will know. And again, the cost of getting this is high. Tell me, how can a shuttle driver who make 1,000 naira a day go to a lawyer? So that is system. And that is why some were advised for civil disobedience. It's a part of human right. People can congregate and decide to to go in a war of civil disobedience to ask for what belongs to them. So I still maintain that the justice system need to be reformed and refined. And the government must make it public also, or enlighten the citizens the issue of human legal aid council. The government should do that. Citizens should know that there exists a body that will handle this case. And perhaps it's free, or they pay little things.
That was what, because he said something like the citizens, of course the lawyers will go out there looking for the citizens. Then now, how will the citizens even know that this
that is why we are doing this program. That is why we are doing this program. And that is why where the government will come into play. Everything rests on the government. It's just about 5% rests with the citizens. Everything rests with the government. The government has power through the ABS to say, okay, citizens, what we are going to look at what we are going to do. But the citizens has no money to do that. The fund to go to judicial process is too heavy. They cannot afford that. They are doing the one that they can do today. That is why you see them resorting to that jungle justice we are condemning here. If the government have done their work right, this thing will not happen. That's the truth. If the government is all out to protect our right and freedom, this thing will not happen. That is why I gave the instance of a shuttle driver who will pay 41,000 to nobody, not recepted, not government. Are you telling me the government doesn't know it? And when he could not no longer bear it, he now begin to conspire to resist. And that's why you have all this jungle justice, all these things. So what I'm advising, we have to come together, the lawyers, all the professional bodies. We have to emphasize much on this education of human rights of people, its protection, its enforcement. It squarely lies on government. And when I talk for government, I mean judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. So it squarely lies on them. The citizens can now come to seek redress through social disobedience when government refuse to listen to them.
So, okay, they will revolt, so you're saying. Barrister Ifechukwu Jacobs, you're a legal practitioner.
Well, on this issue of enforcement of fundamental human rights, government have provided avenues for people to approach and seek redress. But most of the time, the problem we have is that the citizens are not knowledgeable enough to know. Like, as he said, we have legal aid council in all the Department of Ministry of Justice throughout the Federation. This legal aid council, government paid the lawyers there to handle cases for indigent citizens. Indigent, in quote, indigent, not for everybody. But most of the time, these people don't make use of these openings for them. And some of them don't know. And because of lack of knowledge, it's enough for the leadership of the communities, the government agencies, to educate the people of this, to be aware of these openings they have, to make use of them, to seek proper redress, to avoid illegal activity, illegal approach to issues that concern them. Then they use proper approach, use legal means to address. And once we start to use legal means, take proper steps to address issues, the society will continue to grow and develop. There will be peace and harmony. And but the issue here is about government. Government actually, at times, most of the infraction is from government. But it's not the duty of even the citizens to rise up and say no. If the government, for instance now, if there's issues government is supposed to do, and they fail to do, if the citizen doesn't rise in defense of that, the government will not be compelled to do that. Even the citizens have the right to take the government to court, to compel them to do certain things, under writ of mandamus. Do you get the point? So the law has provided avenues, even for citizens to engage government where they fail to do what they're supposed to do. There's other openings for citizens to even engage their fellow citizens to do what they're supposed to do when they fail to do it. So it's enough for the citizens to know what they should do at every point in time, not just to resign to their fate when issues that concern their rights occurs. Some of them don't even care. They, instead of rising up, seeking advice, money is not everything. When there's problem, when you have a problem shared is problem solved. You can walk into a lawyer's office, or you might have a friend who is a lawyer. You can call and say, please look at what the problem I had. Little advice he will give you might even solve the whole problem, instead of engaging in self-help that might result in complicating the whole issue. Like when maybe somebody violated a right of movement, and eventually you engage that person in self-help and eventually kill the person, the issue of murder have come in. Then, like issue of unnecessary killing, that is where the government should come in and make sure that perpetrators are being punished. They are being fished out and punished according to deter them not to do it.
Okay.
I encourage them to seek the proper redress.
Thank you. All right, Comrade Osita, what do you think we need to do as a society to address these issues of violation and ensure that our citizens' rights are protected as already enshrined into the Nigerian Constitution?
I think we need to think of just and the human society. I think that's what we need. To me, what we are doing here is just this, what we try to do as a nation, as a people, is just textbook theorizing, to theorize it. We must find a way of practicalizing all this. I restate again, the protection of human rights of people and their freedom depends on government. The citizen has a role to play. When you have a just society, these things fall in. If citizens knew that nobody has power to prevent them from running on government rules, the Kekemene Pepman will not go and pay 41,000. If the government is there for him, he will protect him. So the thing lies squarely. And until we remove all these things, we won't have a just society. So the judiciary must be there. The executive must be there, the legislation must be there. These things are happening because these bodies are far removed away from people. And that is why the people are taking the short corner. So the government must go back to its responsibility. That's basic. When the government does that, the citizens force in. If they don't do that, if the citizens don't do that, the government will compel them. Everything, not everything, sorry. 80% lies squarely on the government. Every day, human rights of people and their freedom of speech are violated with impunity. We see it happening. And I warn, if the government doesn't rise to the occasion to curtail this, there will be anarchy in the system.
Okay, thank you very much. And that was Comrade Osita Obi. He is the coordinator of Recover Nigeria project. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
And of course, we still have a barrister in the house, Barrister Ifechukwu Dan Jacobs. He also doubles as a human rights activist and a public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you, the presenter. Thank you, viewers, for giving us your time to listen to us.
Well, you have it. If the human rights of the citizens are not protected and guaranteed, what we are going to be having is a society characterized by anarchy and lawlessness. The responsibility of guiding and safeguarding the fundamental human rights of citizens lies in the hands of you and I. So let us protect the rights of our citizens to avoid lawlessness in our land. This is Indepth on ABS Television. Till next time, my name is Priska.